Extension here in Murfreesboro, here in Napa Park. So thank you all for coming this morning. We have a series each month of seasonal eating, and today is sweet potatoes and honey from the slides, because September is National Honey Month. So we're going to use honey in our some of our recipes, most of our recipes today. We have several things going on this fall with Extension, and I will hopefully share those throughout the program. First, you have green bags. If you don't have one of the green reusable shopping bags, you're welcome to have that. That was a gift from our Farmers Market Fresh program. We've just wound that down, and sweet potatoes was one of the recipes that we handed out. If you've been coming to our market regularly, I always have trouble with that word. You may have noticed we had a couple of assistants who were doing small food demonstrations and giving out samples. And every time they would have a food model, so these are not real, just so you'll know, these are replicas. And this shows a serving size of sweet potatoes. So that being one of our foods for today, I'm going to share this Farmers Market Fresh recipe. This is a sweet potato pancake recipe, all right? And this shows a serving size. Now, we're also going to talk about, I have two daughters who I talk about often, but one of them says she just does not like sweet potatoes. And it's because a lot of our sweet potatoes, you think maybe as a casserole, and this kind of mushy sweet potatoes. So this is a half cup and a serving size of the mushed sweet potatoes, or mashed sweet potatoes. She says mushed, I guess. But this is not something that she'll eat. But if you will cut them up like shoestring fries or in wedges, then she would eat it. So sometimes if you have children, just changing the way you prepare a fruit or a vegetable may get them to eat it. So one of the things I'm going to pass out is the sweet potato pancake. And that is a recipe for you to use, because I know I like to, use different recipes. You kind of get stuck in a rut, and this is one of the things we're going to pass out later. Now, for some reason, it's just like school. Nobody wants to sit on the front row. Sure, that'd be great. Yeah, everybody always Another thing we're going to pass out, you're going to go away with lots of paper. That's another reason we gave you the bag, is because you're going to have lots of things to take home. This is our seasonal eating handout. Again, it has my name and contact information on the front. But it gives you information on selection and how to store sweet potatoes. Have any of you grown sweet potatoes, or maybe as a kid dug sweet potatoes? They're a root vegetable and you dig them, right? Has anybody grown sweet potatoes? So was it easy?
Yeah, super easy.
Super easy? Really? That's usually not the story I hear. Are you just saying that?
Depends on what you've done before.
Oh, right. I guess. Depends on your experience. Well, usually people say it's not so easy digging sweet potatoes. And that is, bring that up because they are in the ground and you dig them. And I wanted to point out, when you're looking at sweet potatoes, because they are, people when they're digging them, they can't see them. When you select them, try to find where there's no damage from the digging, which is sometimes a challenge because there is some part, and this one is a deeper color of the potato, but you can see sometimes where it gets scarred. So when you're looking to purchase sweet potatoes, try to find firm, smooth skins that are not wrinkled, and avoid any cracks or bruises. So another thing, and I'm going to pass these around because these are really good examples. These are all from our market. In order to get a sweeter sweet potato, your farmer or your producer needs to cure them. So this one is about a week out of the ground. You see the color? It's a little pinker. And this one is a little darker color. So curing sweet potatoes is when, after they're dug, you hold them for about 10 days at about 80 to 85 degrees and a high relative humidity. Now, commercial producers, they usually know what they're doing and they have a certain place that they do it. But if you're doing it at home, you may need to pay attention and maybe put it near a heat source so that they can cure. Now, what that does is the curing process causes the starch to convert to sugar. So it just makes it a tastier potato. So I have these are three different producers. Well, those colors are kind of, these two are the best examples of the different colors. But curing kind of gives it a thicker skin, and it does make it a sweeter potato. Now that information about curing and selection is going to be on the back. Pardon? Yes, pass them around. I'm gonna, yes, thank you.
The darker red potato, is it grown different? Does it cure different?
Yes, it's been cured longer. One was probably a week out of ground, and the other was probably 3 weeks out of ground and cured. So it's been held at that temperature and moisture or humidity level. Excuse me.
Which one's the cured one? Or
The darker one?
dark?
The darker one. There it is.
But the red is a different grade of potato.
Oh, this is totally different. Yes. This one? Yes. I should pass that one around. Yeah, it's really good. And you know what? Curing is personal preference. Some cultures prefer not to, cure their potatoes. It's just what you're looking for in your finished product. So storing did everybody get one of the, I don't know what to call that color. When you store sweet potatoes, you might think of a root cellar, but that's not necessarily. You need a cool, well-ventilated container. You think of those tater boxes is what I think of. But avoid storing them in the refrigerator because they can get a hard and unpleasant taste in the refrigerator. For best quality, eat sweet potatoes within 2 weeks. And in storage-wise, you can your potatoes, your sweet potatoes, but you need to use a pressure canner in order to kill botulism. So the recommendations are all up to date, and the most research-based information is out of the University of Georgia Extension, which does the National Center for Food Preservation, and we provide their book at our office as part of a class. So if you're interested in that, it has all the information about drying, canning, and freezing fruits and vegetables. So it is in our So Easy to Preserve. It's also available online. Now to freeze sweet potatoes is my preferred method. So it does seem a little easier than canning sometimes, especially if you're using a pressure canner. But you need to cook them until they're tender in steam or in the oven. You can cool them completely, peel them. You can cut them in halves, slice them, or mash them. And then to prevent darkening, dip them in a solution of a 1/4 cup lemon juice and a quart of water, and then pack them in the containers, leaving a 1/2 inch headspace. Now, I know some mothers, and I won't name names, but they do work in this building, who love to slip those mashed sweet potatoes into soups and chili, or whenever they can slip it in. I don't know if you knew Jessica Seinfeld is Jerry Seinfeld's wife. She came out with a cookbook using all of these kind of things. Sweet potatoes are superfoods. They're one of the healthiest foods that we have out there, with its high in vitamin A. Look at this is the chart to show you. The yellow is off the charts showing the vitamin A as far as the percentage of your daily value of vitamin A. And then vitamin C, it has 23%. It's orange color, it's high in beta carotene and carotenoids. And sweet potatoes are also high in fiber. So that's helpful to a lot of diabetics. Sometimes, white potatoes aren't desirable, so sometimes they can have sweet potatoes. So, I have 2 sweet potato recipes to share. I fell in love with this first one. I know, it's sweet potatoes and honey. So this one is so super simple. The most difficult part is peeling the potato and cutting it up. Because if you're not familiar, if you haven't done sweet potatoes, I'm going to have to pull this up here. If you haven't done sweet potatoes, they Okay. Peeling is about the same as any potato. But this recipe, super simple ingredients. And like I said, the toughest part may be peeling and cutting it up. And so, videotaping and tweeting this morning. My prediction for the next generation is going to be that they're going to say, no, don't take my picture. Don't videotape me. We'll see if that happens. So when I think about selecting sweet potatoes, and this is personal preference. I look at the potato and I think, is that one going to be easy to peel? Because a smooth, easy to peel is, and this one's not bad at all, but sometimes they can have a lot of, if they have like the damage from digging, that's not ideal. All right, that's not so bad, right? Thank you, Tiffany, picking a good potato there. Tiffany Schmidt is in the back. She is my coworker, and she is an FCS SNAP Ed agent. And I know a lot of you have been to some of her classes, so I appreciate her helping this morning. So I have a cutting board, sharp knife. Now, like I said, they are thick, so I put the tip of my knife on the cutting board and just kind of use it as a lever. And they are so, sometimes I'm going to cut this in half so it makes it a little more manageable. Now, for this recipe, it says to cut them in 1-inch pieces. Now, because our little serving cups are, only about 2 ounces, I probably cut them in smaller bite-sized pieces. It just depends. Smaller pieces will cook a little faster, of course, right? So, this is another hint for sweet potatoes. If you're going to cube them, cut them in manageable sizes, because if you try to cut through the whole potato, and it also makes it easier when you're cutting up fries. So, I continue to do bite-sized pieces. So you cut that up, and this is only it's 2 pounds or about 2 potatoes, because sweet potatoes come in pretty big. So I cut those up into bite-sized pieces, and then this is the super simple sauce that goes with it. You only need, and I'm going to do it in this, 2 tablespoons of oil. Do y'all watch cooking shows on television? Anybody? They always do what? This is olive oil. And we're not supposed to show name brands, but just trust me. It's olive oil. And here's our first honey. And this is 2 tablespoons of honey. And this is from George Martin, one of our producers here at the market. And that man knows a lot about honey. I encourage you to go by any of our honey vendors. I mean, they are passionate about it. We have an excellent group of beekeepers here in the county, and that is 2 tablespoons of honey. And it is fascinating to hear them talk. I know a friend of mine whose husband became a beekeeper, and he can tell you exactly when he fell in love with it, and it just nearly becomes an addiction. Now, it says 1 teaspoon of fresh lemon. Fresh ingredients make a difference. Now, to me, from my experience, half a teaspoon of fresh lemon is about a quarter squeezed. A quarter of a lemon. Greg Rigsby tells a story about when he started being interested in beekeeping and making honey. So I put all those, I'm going to heat it up in here. This is an induction cooktop, which we love. And that's going to get people just coming in here because it's going to smell good. Induction immediately has immediate heat, so that's why it was ready to go as soon as I poured that in. Greg Rigsby came to an FCE club meeting and talked about his experience as a beekeeper. That heats it up so fast it's ready. I've got to cut faster as I talk about Greg Rigsby's story. He went out to get a hive from a gentleman's who had passed away. His grandson was selling the hive. And he said while he was there, a bee flew in, landed on top of the hive, and did the little dance. You know what, to tell the other bees, to communicate to the other bees, and he said it was like a disco, because the bee did the dance, and all the other bees like did a circle around him so they could see his dance. And he said that was the moment I knew I was hooked. And I thought, if I had seen that in person, I mean, it's one thing to see stuff like that on television, but to see it in person is something else. And he said that was when he knew he was going to be a beekeeper. So these beekeepers that we have in the county are very passionate, and they know a lot about their product. And I am happy that we have so many here at our market. So this is so simple. I mean, I've cut up the sweet potatoes, you put them in a 9x13 dish, and the sauce, you just pour it over it, and then you put this in the oven. And Tiffany is going to help do samples of this recipe. No pressure, Tiffany. I know. You hear how it's kind of, have any of you never had any sweet potatoes? Never tried sweet potatoes? One person? That's good. I appreciate you, Wow, this is momentous. I hope you love it. So, and then this gets poured over this. That's it. I love easy recipes. And then so this is in your, you have to stir it. This is the 9x13. And so about every 10 to 15 minutes, you stir it in the oven. Done, right? And so we have the samples over here. This one is, I want you to see it here, because this could possibly be one of those recipes that you take to someone's, to a potluck or to something like that. And I have this is keeping it warm. This is what it looks like. Are you going to want to picture that before I...
Got it. Thank you.
I should mention that the Rutherford County Farmers Market, all of these classes that we have are, well, not all of them are recorded, but most of them are recorded and posted to YouTube. So if you ever miss one, you can catch up if you're interested in learning about those. We are all over social media. I just mentioned YouTube, and there's an orange card that is, may I show yours? This one right on top. This one is the Rutherford County Farmers Market card, and on the back you'll see a list of all of the classes that we have. We usually put out 2 of these cards each year, one in the spring and then one more in the fall, and these are the fall classes. This is also social media. We're on Facebook. This is our Healthy Families, Healthy Communities Facebook page, which again will give lots of seasonal eating advice as well as recipes. So while we're doing handouts, this is our Fall Break Fall Fest. Last year, this was so much fun. It was really huge. It is an excellent event to bring children to. They had face painting. They had a pumpkin decorating contest. They have just different, pumpkin in a haystack. I don't even know what that is. But last year they did weaving. And it was just, it is a fun fall break. So if you're not traveling, which I'm not traveling.
Oh, right in front of the camera.
It's okay.
This would be a fun event. There's no charge.
We'll start over
It's here at this very building. And lots of stuff going on. And so, and I did, if you'll notice, 2 recipes. I'm going to talk about the second one. I used olive oil in this one, but it was a lower heat. For a longer amount of time. The oven was at 350 for an hour. So the second recipe I'm going to talk about do for sweet potato fries, but I chose to do a quarter cup of freshly squeezed orange juice and vegetable oil. Vegetable oil is different than olive oil. It has a higher smoke point, so it can handle that 450-degree oven. Now, they cook faster. They were only in the oven for about 20-25 minutes, and I can tell you, those were in the oven because they are, what you like a little char. They're sweet potato fries, so you have to want to make sure that they're done. But they were at a hot oven for about 22 minutes, and I yanked them out because this says 25 minutes. I was watching it. So this was orange juice and vegetable oil and just a little ginger. I chose not to do the cayenne pepper. Well, because I was out of it, and that was a choice. I could have gone back to Murfreesboro, but I didn't. So the cayenne pepper is, if you taste it and you're missing it, it's because it's not there. So these are sweet potato fries, and again, with the versus a mashed sweet potato, we did long strips, and it's really up to you whether you want to do really long strips or shorter strips. I like shorter strips again because you saw how I cut up the sweet potato. It's just easier to cut up when they're shorter instead of trying to get your knife to the whole potato. So super easy. Again, the longest part was peeling and cutting up the potato. Once you have the orange juice and oil mixed up, you just toss the fries in and you put them on. I was taught this was a jelly roll pan, but they call this a cookie pan sheet, or this says a pan with sides. But this is a good size. I also use parchment paper or spray it with a Pam or some other so it won't stick, because you do need to toss them or flip them. I'll flip them once. That's what I choose to do usually. So this is a handy pan. It's a good size because you want them to lay in one layer, like when you do other fries. So when you can, go ahead and pre-cut your sweet potatoes and freeze them for later. That's up to you, but again, to prevent browning, as a reminder on the back, you do need to do the slices and put them in a solution of lemon juice and water so they don't brown. Now, since this is also, that was the other sweet potato fries. Thank you, Tiffany. The other topic today was honey. I've forgotten to move these a little bit.
If you're using frozen sweet potatoes, do you season them and everything, or do you season them after they're thawed?
I would season them after they're thawed before you're going to cook them. Those were, I forget to use these. I thought I had a honey picture. I'll just show you those. All right, honey. Sweet tips for honey use. Now this flyer is from the Honey Board. Again, September is Honey Month. I mentioned our beekeepers here, they love to do, you can sample the different kinds. And you wouldn't think it would be that different, but it really is. When you put them side by side, and they can tell you benefits of different ones. I usually choose, what I'm used to is a wildflower honey. But depending on what the bees use to pollinate will determine the color of the honey. And see, this one has honeycomb in it, and I would pass that around, but it's honey, and it's in a glass jar, so it's not and the difference also could be the container. So if you look at a quart-sized jar versus a pint-sized jar versus a plastic bottle, it may look like different colors, but it could be the container and the amount of light that's touching it. So we have the little classic honey bear. Now this is a flavored honey. This is a butter pecan. I think they also have blueberry and different flavored honeys. There's also a whipped honey. Honey straws. Kids love honey straws. It's just like it's a straw. It's like a pixie stick, except better for you because it's honey, all natural, right? And you're still getting a little sugar. You're getting a shot of sugar is what you're getting. I've seen athletes use those before cross-country events. You know, sometimes they might think they need to boost their energy just at the last minute. But honey differs in color and flavor, so I encourage you to stop by one of the vendors that does the honey taste test later, so you can taste the different varieties. Make sure you store honey at room temperature. You know, room temperature, not a hot spot in the kitchen or too cool, but room temperature. And it's not advised to store honey in the refrigerator because it accelerates the crystallization process. If you know, honey, sometimes when it sits for a while, it will start to crystallize. And the best way, and honey never ruins, so the best way to get rid of those crystals is to put the container of honey in warm water and stir it until the crystals dissolve. So it's still good to use. There's nothing wrong with it crystallizing. You just may need to heat it up. Microwave's not the best recommendation for that. Now, cooking tips for best results with honey. Use recipes that were designed for use with honey. Now, you can experiment, and there are some substitutions there on this sheet about reducing the liquid in the recipe by 1/4 cup for each cup of honey used, and add 1/2 teaspoon of baking soda for each cup of honey used, and reduce the oven temperature by 25 degrees to prevent overbrowning. So there are some things to consider if you're trying to alter a recipe yourself, but really for best results, use one that's already intended for honey. So the National Honey Board is right there, easy website, honey.com, but I am heartbroken. I left one of the recipes I had for you at home, and it was the heavenly non-fat chocolate honey dip. Okay, and I apologize because it was tasty, and my girls are going to be so happy that I left that behind. But it is, it was in my refrigerator. Sorry, but easy to make ahead of time, and again, just super simple. It was just 4 ingredients. Non-fat sour cream, honey, cocoa powder, and vanilla. So you can use it, it's recommended as a fruit dip or as a dip with like a pound cake or something like that, but it was tasty. So I highly recommend that one. And another one was that hot spice tea. I wanted to make that one. It just sounded good. But I use honey as a sweetener. Also, you know, if you have one of those little annoying coughs, have you heard of a teaspoon of honey can help with a cough? Definitely try that. You talk about that's a nice home remedy versus taking some other cough syrups or things that may have other ingredients you may not care for. But I encourage you to go meet the vendors. We have several that have sweet potatoes today, and even a few that have honey, and so you can take the taste test there. And my final talk, and I hope there's enough to share, Tiffany. And again, it was a choice. I did not go back into Murfreesboro, but granola. If you have honey, this is my favorite use of honey, is to make your own granola. Again, I guess everything that I actually do at home is the super simple recipes. But when you make your own granola, you need I use old-fashioned oats, 4 cups old-fashioned oats. And again, the jelly roll pan, just pour them out, and you want it to be flat. 4 cups old-fashioned oats, then 1/2 cup of each. 1/2 cup of coconut oil, 1/2 cup of honey from over here, and 1/2 cup of water. You put that in a saucepan and heat it up. Pour that over your oats. And then you stir it up and put it in an oven, 325 for 15 minutes. And you stir. And then 15 minutes, you stir. 15 minutes, you stir. So this is granola. You're drying it out. And all that good honey and coconut oil that's making it crisp is soaking into the, and so eventually you make your own granola. Now, of course, you could add nuts or sunflower seeds or whatever you wanted to add to your granola, but this is just the basic oatmeal, and you can make your own granola. And because granola is so crazy expensive in grocery stores, I just can't believe it, when it is so easy to make. Now, it does take time. Like I said, it usually takes me about 1.5 hours, 2 hours, depending on how crunchy you want it. You don't want it burnt. I have done that. When you forget and you don't toss it. Do any of you already make your own granola? Oh, 1, 2. It'll change your life because it's like tasty cereal on fruit or on yogurt or a snack for kids. And like I said, if you put almonds or whatever your favorite addition, raisins, craisins. What are some of the things you put in your granola? People who make it. Flax seeds. Nuts and raisins. Yeah. The nuts you can put with the granola to roast in the oven, would be nice and toasted. But of course you add raisins or craisins or any fruit at the end. So you wouldn't put that in the oven. But one more sample. Yes, ma'am?
Do you have this recipe online or something that we can go back to?
Yeah, I'm going to put it on the Facebook page. See how I did that? Make you go to my social media? That was sneaky. Actually, I just thought of that. But, shouldn't get that far. I will put it on our Rutherford County Extension Facebook page, which is a different Facebook page than the one that I gave you. The Facebook page that I gave you is our state Family and Consumer Sciences or Healthy Living Facebook page, but Rutherford County Extension, and I could put it on the Rutherford County Farmers Market page as well. But it is super simple, and I guess my recipes have to be busy working mom and lots going on. And speaking of other lots going on, I mentioned Fall Fest, but there's also another really fun event happening at the main building at Lane Agri Park called Season of Wonder, and that will be Thursday, November 3rd. There's no charge, and it's more of a fall kind of craft fair, but we also have Whitney Danhoff, who is an extension agent in Bedford County, who will be doing a food demonstration for the holidays. And she is, you talk about seasonal eating. She is a seasonal eating guru and does her own videotapes on her website. I feel very fortunate to have her coming to speak to us.
Carla, what was that recipe again?
4 cups of old-fashioned oats, half a cup coconut oil, half a cup water, half a cup honey. And then you heat that in a saucepan. Like I didn't see that. Heat that in a saucepan, pour it over the oats, and then you stir it up on the pan because, I'm just kind of trying to minimize the dirty dishes. And then stir it up on the pan, put it in the oven, 15 minutes, stir it, 15 minutes, stir it until it gets to your desired crunchy. So, Season of Wonder. Now, also another excellent way, follow our Facebook page, but we also have a monthly newsletter for the Rutherford County Extension Office that will tell you about Fall Fest, Season of Wonder, Tiffany's classes, my classes. We have a lot going on here at the Extension Office, and we welcome you to participate in any and all of it. All of our programs are open to everyone. Some of them do have a fee, but that's usually if there's some kind of booklet or something that comes along with the class. So, you have any questions for me? I know there's an evaluation. Hopefully you picked up on your way in, and there's a sweet potato door prize that you can take home. So, and the lucky winner